Okay, so this next tutorial is going to show you how to create some basic functions within Excel. Functions are essentially formulas, same kinds of calculations, but they have an instruction word built within them. So, for example here, I'm using a spreadsheet that some of my Year 7s have been working on. And this has a selection of students from a fictional class, their ages and their test results. These test marks have been formatted as percentage. I'm now going to find out the average percentage test mark for the class, the highest percentage test mark for the class, and the lowest. Now you might think with such a small amount of data I can just look and see who the highest and lowest test mark for the class is. However, please bear in mind that when we're using spreadsheets, for the majority of you who are managing with large amounts of data, you might have 200 or 300 different examples of particular numbers that you want to work through, and that becomes very inefficient in order to just scroll through to find the highest or the lowest. So it's very useful to be able to write simple formula to drag this information out. So we'll start here. I'm going to write a formula to find out the average within this cell here. Every formula must start with an equals. This is exactly the same as the plus, minus, divide and times formulas that we've already done. So we must always start with an equals symbol. Now, as I said, a function has an instruction word. The instruction word for the average function is quite obvious. It's average. So I type in straight after my equals symbol average. Next, I want to add the range of all of the formula that I want to work out the average for. So in order to do this, I must open brackets to tell the computer that I'm opening a range. So I open brackets. I can do this in two ways. Number one, I can type the cell references in. So my first cell reference here is in cell D4, okay? Not 98%, I'm looking for the actual cell that is in, which is in D4. So I want to find the average from cell D4 all the way down to cell D11, okay? So I want to put a symbol in here that is going to say and everything else in between, which is the double dot, the colon symbol here, okay? So then I can write D11, and this is telling the computer to work out the average of everything from D4 to D11. I must close the brackets, and if I press enter, this will resolve the situation. There is another way of doing it. Instead of typing in the cells, once I have opened the brackets, I can just click and drag over the cells and it will type them in for me. Again, close brackets, press enter, and it will work out the average. The highest and the lowest work in just about exactly the same way. The only difference for this highest and lowest is that the instruction word is not as simple as highest or lowest. The instruction word is max for highest and min for lowest. Max for maximum and min for minimum. So if I show you this, equals max, open brackets, drag down, close brackets and enter. This is the highest number, and equals min, open brackets, drag down, close brackets and enter. This is the minimum number. These are three simple functions, and you can find all different kinds of formulas that work in exactly the same way. Up in the formulas bar, you can have a look for the different insert functions, and you can have a look at some of the different ones that you can get to do. Okay, we'll have a look at some more complex ones later on in a different tutorial.